What does it truly mean to be unshakable? Not just calm when things are easy, not just focused when you feel motivated, not just strong when the sun is shining and the world is silent, but to remain centered when chaos swirls around you like a storm, to hold your ground when everything in life seems designed to pull you off course, to hear the siren call of comfort and still rise at dawn, still do your work, still uphold your principles, not because it's fun or easy or instantly rewarding, but because you decided to. That is what it means to be unshakable. It's the ability to hold the line when others would fold, to carry forward when the weight of fatigue, fear, or failure presses on your back, to look temptation in the eye and say, "Not today." In our modern world, we are surrounded by noise, notifications, distractions, endless choices, and the constant push to seek shortcuts, cheat codes, life hacks, and dopamine rewards. We are told that discipline is outdated, that success should be easy, that pleasure is purpose. But deep down, you know that's a lie. Because the life you want, the strength you admire, the clarity you crave, the greatness you sense is possible, will not come from chasing comfort. It comes from cultivating inner strength. It comes from aligning your actions with your values, not your moods. It comes from doing the hard things, again and again, when no one is watching and no one is clapping. It comes from self-mastery. And there is a name for this path. It is not new. It is not trendy. It is not popular. It is timeless. It is Stoicism. Stoicism was born over 2,000 years ago in the marketplaces of ancient Greece and matured in the courts and battlefields of the Roman Empire. It was not conceived in ivory towers, but in the trenches of real life, by slaves, soldiers, statesmen, and emperors. It was forged by men like Zeno of Citium, who lost everything and built something greater. By Epictetus, a former slave whose body was broken, but whose will was unbreakable. By Seneca, a statesman who balanced immense power with personal philosophy. And by Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, who ruled a vast empire and still found time to sit alone, reflect, and write humbly to himself. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. These were not abstract thinkers. They were men of action, men of discipline. They understood that the world could be brutal, unpredictable, and unfair, but that within each of us is something that cannot be touched unless we surrender it. Our reason, our choices, our character. And they believed that if we mastered that, if we took responsibility not just for what we do, but for how we think and who we become, we could walk through fire and remain unburned. Stoicism is not about emotionless living. It's not about becoming a robot, suppressing feelings, or detaching from joy. It's about being so rooted in your purpose, so committed to your principles, that you are no longer a slave to every impulse or every storm that comes your way. It's about living with intentionality, waking up each day with clarity, acting not out of reaction, but out of resolve. Stoicism trains you to see setbacks as training. It sharpens your perception, strengthens your will, and purifies your goals. It teaches you not to wish for an easy life, but to become someone strong enough to endure a difficult one with grace, courage, and virtue. If you want to build real discipline, the kind that doesn't shatter under pressure, doesn't fade when the mood shifts, doesn't dissolve when comfort whispers, then the Stoics are your teachers. And their lessons are not soft. They are not easy, but they are clear. So today, we journey through 10 Stoic lessons you must master to build unshakable discipline. These aren't just tips. These are tools to build a life not ruled by fear, desire, or distraction, but a life led by purpose, by reason, and by strength. You may not become a philosopher king or a Roman general, but you can become someone who stands tall, calm, focused, and unbreakable, no matter what the world throws at you. Before we continue, share your thoughts on the comments and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video, like, and turn on notification, so you never miss what comes next. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus, at the heart of Stoic discipline lies a radical, almost shocking truth. You are not in control of most things. Not the economy, not your past, not what other people think of you, not the weather, not your genetics, not whether you get that job, whether they text you back, or whether the world treats you fairly. You're not even in control of how long you live. This could be terrifying, unless you also realize that there is something you do control, something powerful, something constant. Your own mind, your thoughts, your intentions, your beliefs, your actions, your responses. This, the Stoics said, is your true domain. It is where your real power lives. Epictetus, once a slave and later a great teacher, drew a sharp boundary between what he called what is up to us and what is not. And he taught that true freedom, true discipline, begins when you fully accept that distinction. Why we suffer. The illusion of control. Much of our suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our refusal to accept it. We fight reality. We resist what we cannot change. We obsess over what they said, what might happen, what could go wrong, but in doing so, we give away our strength. When you argue with the world, you lose every time. It is not the storm that breaks you. It is your insistence that there shouldn't be a storm. It's not the delay or the disrespect or the unfairness that robs you of peace. It's the illusion that you were ever in control of those things in the first place. The Stoic shift. Owning your sphere. Now imagine this shift. Instead of trying to bend the world to your will, you bend your will to match reality. You stop demanding that things go your way. Instead, you take responsibility for how you meet them. The Stoic doesn't say, "This isn't fair." They say, "What can I do with this?" They don't say, "Why is this happening to me?" They say, "How can I rise to meet this moment?" They stop wasting energy on what they cannot control and redirect it toward mastering what they can. And that is discipline. Examples in daily life. Can you control how people treat you? No, but you can control whether you react with anger or respond with poise. Can you control whether you feel tired, afraid, or unmotivated? Not always. But you can control whether you act anyway. You can control what you feed your mind. You can control how you speak to yourself. You can control whether you keep the promise you made to yourself when it was easy, even now that it's hard. This is the Stoic path, not to control the external, but to master the internal. This is where discipline begins. It's easy to blame the world, to point to your past, to your parents, to bad luck, to society. But the Stoic knows, every time you blame, you surrender power. Every time you focus on what's outside your control, you weaken your grip on what is. Discipline begins the moment you stop saying, "I can't because of them," and start saying, "I will, despite them." When you train your focus to stay on what you can do, no setback can fully stop you. Because you will always be asking, what's in my control right now? When you truly accept this, you become unshakable. You become like a rock in the sea. Waves crash, winds howl, storms rage. But you don't move. Not because the world stopped being chaotic, but because you stopped expecting it to be calm. You become free. You stop reacting. You start responding with strength, clarity, and composure. Because you've made the choice, again and again, to place your energy where it matters, on your own mind, your own actions, your own effort. And that is the foundation of unshakable discipline. Remember this: you cannot control the world. You can only control how you meet it, and that is more than enough. Lesson 2. Embrace voluntary discomfort. Set aside now and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, "Is this the condition I feared?" Seneca modern life softens us. Comfort becomes a drug. But the Stoic path demands voluntary hardship, to rehearse poverty, sleep on the floor, skip meals, wake at dawn, train in the cold. Why? Because discomfort strengthens will. It prepares you for the inevitable storms. When you've practiced suffering, real suffering doesn't destroy you. It sharpens you. You become harder to break. Lesson 3. Discipline is a daily practice, not a burst of motivation. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius, motivation comes and goes. But the Stoic does not wait to feel inspired. The disciplined person acts regardless of emotion. Every day is a chance to practice your principles. You don't become disciplined by reading books or watching videos. You become disciplined by doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially then. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, not for us, but for himself, to remind himself daily of what mattered. Do the same. Reflect daily. Train daily. Show up daily. Lesson 4. Memento mori. Remember you will die. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics meditated constantly on death, not to be morbid, but to sharpen their purpose. When you remember that life is short, you stop wasting time. Discipline is hard, but wasting your life is harder. Memento mori reminds you, you don't have forever. Every day not lived fully is a day you'll never get back. So get up, move your body, build your skills. Say what must be said. Do what must be done. Do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. Lesson 5. Make your principles stronger than your impulses. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca. Without a clear code, you drift. Discipline demands direction, values that govern your choices. Define your principles: truth, courage, excellence, patience, resilience. Then measure your actions against them. When temptation whispers, let your code shout louder. The Stoic lives by a compass, not by cravings. You must too. Lesson 6. Delay gratification. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. The battle for discipline is often the battle against immediate pleasure. The Stoics taught temperance, not repression, but the power to delay what you want now for what matters more later. Every moment you resist the urge to scroll, binge, skip, or quit, you build mental muscle. You train yourself to pursue purpose over pleasure. And over time, this becomes your new default, your new freedom. Lesson 7. Expect obstacles and love them. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. To the Stoics, obstacles weren't setbacks, they were fuel. Every difficulty is a forge for discipline. Flat tire, patience, injury, resilience, failure, wisdom, betrayal, forgiveness. If you expect a smooth path, you'll always be disappointed. But if you expect resistance and lean into it, you grow tougher. You begin to love the process. You see every obstacle as the exact training you needed. Lesson 8. Master your mind through journaling. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Epictetus. Journaling was a Stoic weapon. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal for others. He wrote to confront himself, to prepare, to reflect, to improve. Want discipline? Start writing. Every night ask, what did I do well today? Where did I falter? What must I do tomorrow? You can't improve what you don't examine. Writing turns chaos into clarity, and clarity into action. Lesson 9. Be ruthlessly honest with yourself. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. Lies destroy discipline. Excuses, justifications, blame, they all weaken the will. The Stoic looks in the mirror and speaks the truth. I didn't fail because of bad luck. I failed because I didn't prepare. I didn't skip the gym because I was tired. I skipped it because I lacked resolve. Brutal honesty is the beginning of real strength. If you want to grow, tell yourself the truth, especially when it hurts. Lesson 10. Live with purpose, not emotion. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus. You are not your feelings. Emotions come and go. But your purpose, the reason you rise, train, learn, endure, that is eternal. Don't let the mood of the day dictate the direction of your life. Let reason lead. Let values lead. Let purpose lead. The Stoic lives by choice, not by chance. They don't react, they respond, with intention, with principle, with fire. Conclusion. Discipline is not a gift. It is not talent. It is not inherited. It is built. Day by day, decision by decision, breath by breath. The Stoics didn't talk about discipline. They lived it. They woke early. They served their duties. They faced death without fear and hardship without complaint. If they could do that in ancient Rome, what excuse do we have today? Remember, control what you can. Embrace discomfort. Show up daily. Remember death. Follow your principles. Delay gratification. Love obstacles. Journal deeply. Tell the truth. Live with purpose. Master these lessons, and you will become unshakable. Not in theory, but in life.